I never thought I'd be here. At this stage in life, at this moment, feeling like this. I'm 59 years old. I've had my life, my love, my mistakes. I've raised children, built a home, watched the years pass like the turning pages of an old, familiar novel. Predictable, comfortable. A story I thought I knew the ending to. And then he appeared. It wasn't dramatic. No lightning strike, no music swelling in the background. Just a boy, no, a man, moving through my world as if he belonged in it. He was the son of my best friend's sister. Or was it her cousin? I don't remember now. It doesn't matter. What mattered was the way his presence unsettled something inside me, something I had long buried. It started simply, innocently. He was helping around the house that summer, fixing little things I no longer had the patience for. A broken step on the back porch, a leaky faucet in the kitchen, small things that required strong hands and a certain patience I envied. I wasn't prepared for the way he looked at me. At first, I thought I imagined it. The way his gaze lingered just a fraction too long. The way his lips would part slightly, as if he was about to say something but thought better of it. I told myself it was my own foolishness, my own longings playing tricks on me. But then, one evening, everything changed. I had just come in from the garden, my hands stained with earth, my hair falling loose from its clip. The house was warm, filled with the scent of freshly brewed tea and the lingering heat of the sun-baked afternoon. I hadn't expected him to still be there. "You missed a spot," he murmured, his voice low, amused. I turned, startled to find him leaning against the kitchen counter, arms crossed over his chest. His eyes, deep and unreadable, flickered to my cheek, and only then did I realize there was dirt smudged across my skin. I wiped at it clumsily, but before I could, he stepped closer. Too close. I should have moved away. Should have laughed it off, created space between us. But I didn't. My feet stayed rooted to the tiled floor as he reached out, his thumb brushing against my cheek with a touch so light it could have been mistaken for an accident. Except it wasn't. Time stretched, slowed. I forgot how to breathe. His fingers lingered for a fraction too long, his breath warm against my skin. And in that moment, with the sun dipping low outside and the house wrapped in silence, something shifted. A line had been crossed. Or maybe I had been waiting for it to be crossed all along. The days that followed were different. The rhythm of my life, once predictable, steady, had been thrown into disarray. I found myself anticipating his presence, looking for excuses to need his help, to hear his voice, to feel the weight of his gaze on me when he thought I wasn't paying attention. And he was watching. More openly now, less cautious than before. One afternoon, as I folded laundry in the quiet living room, I caught him standing just outside on the porch, fixing the screen door that had been giving me trouble for weeks. His shirt was damp with sweat, clinging to his back as he worked, his muscles flexing with each movement. I should have looked away. Should have reminded myself that I was old enough to be his mother. But I didn't. Instead, I stood there, frozen, watching the way his fingers moved so effortlessly, the way his body carried strength without arrogance. He wasn't like the men I had known in my youth, restless, impatient, full of bravado. There was something else about him. A quiet confidence. A steadiness. A patience that made me wonder what else he might be capable of. And then, as if he could feel my gaze, he turned. Our eyes met through the screen, and I knew. He knew. The air between us thickened, crackled with something unspoken. My heart pounded. My breath caught. And for the first time in years, I felt seen. He smirked, just barely, just enough, and turned back to his work, as if he hadn't just stolen the air from my lungs. That night, I lay awake for hours, staring at the ceiling, my body restless in ways I didn't know how to name. My thoughts drifted to him, unbidden, unwanted, yet relentless. I tried to push them away, tried to remind myself that this was ridiculous, that I was being foolish. But the truth had already taken root in me. This wasn't just a passing thought. This was something else entirely. And the scariest part? I didn't want it to stop. The shift between us was undeniable now. I felt it in the way he lingered a little longer when I spoke, The way his eyes would flicker over me when he thought I wasn't looking. But I was looking. I was always looking now. It had been years since I felt this way, since I felt alive in my own skin. My body, once something I barely thought about, was suddenly awake, hyper-aware of every breath, every brush of fabric against my skin. The quiet ache that had settled in my bones over the years had been replaced with something else entirely, something electric, something dangerous. I told myself I was imagining it, that I was assigning meaning where there was none. But then, he proved me wrong. It was late. The house was quiet. My husband had gone to bed early, exhausted from the day. I was alone in the kitchen, washing dishes, the faint hum of the cicadas outside filling the silence. And then, I felt it again. Him, standing in the doorway, watching me. I turned slowly, my breath catching as our eyes met. He didn't speak right away. He didn't need to. The air between us was thick, charged, like the moment before a summer storm. Couldn't sleep? I asked, my voice softer than I intended. He shook his head, stepping further inside. Neither could you. I swallowed, gripping the edge of the sink. I guess not. He came closer. Not fast, not slow, just deliberate. Each step reducing the space between us until he was close enough that I could feel the warmth radiating off his skin. My heart pounded in my chest, and I hated how much I liked it. You don't have to pretend, he murmured. I inhaled sharply. Pretend what? His gaze dropped to my lips. That you don't feel this. The words sent a tremor through me, stealing the breath from my lungs. I should have laughed it off, should have pushed him away. But I didn't. I couldn't. Because he was right. I felt it. I wanted it. He reached out then, his fingers grazing my wrist, light, teasing, a touch that could have been accidental if not for the way his grip tightened slightly, as if testing how far he could go. Say the word, he whispered, and I'll walk away. I opened my mouth, but no sound came out, because I didn't want him to walk away. The realization sent a shiver down my spine. My whole life, I had played by the rules, stayed within the lines, done what was expected. But in this moment, with him standing so close, with his fingers brushing against my skin like a silent question, I wanted nothing more than to forget every single rule I had ever followed. I lifted my gaze, meeting his eyes head-on. Don't. And just like that, the space between us disappeared. His mouth was on mine before I could take another breath. Hot, searching, demanding. My back hit the counter as his hands slid over my waist, pulling me against him like he'd been waiting for this just as long as I had. I gasped against his lips, my fingers curling into his shirt, desperate for something to hold onto as my body betrayed every ounce of logic I had left. His hands traced the curve of my spine, his grip firm, possessive. My pulse raced, my skin burning with the thrill of finally letting go. It wasn't just about desire. It was something deeper, something neither of us dared put into words. A craving, a hunger, a desperate need to feel alive again. Time blurred. I didn't care. I didn't think. I only felt. And when we finally pulled apart, breathless, shaken, I knew there was no turning back. The rules had been broken. The line had been crossed. And I didn't regret a single second of it.